Michael Jackson's life was as intriguing as it was inspiring, filled with moments that left us in awe and others that made us wonder. That's why in today's video, we're delving deep into the lesser-known aspects of his life. Yes, we're talking about those little gems of stories and facts that even the most die-hard fans might not know. So without further ado, let's dive into the top 10 surprising facts about Michael Jackson's personal life that you probably didn't know. Number 10. Jackson's father forced him to play music. Jackson's dad, Joe Jackson, was all about making little Michael Jackson and his siblings rock star from day one. Now he'd make them practice music, and if they messed up or took it as a joke, Joe would hit them or whip them. It was to keep them away from street gangs and to keep them on the supposed right path. Now, what was the downside? The downside that they didn't have many friends. Growing up, Michael felt this insane pressure to be the king of music because of his dad, and it kept him locked away from meeting people around his age and socially connected with others. Number 9. Mother of Jackson's son is unknown. Michael Jackson has 3 children, but one of them has an unknown mother. Jackson actually had 2 marriages. The first to the daughter of Elvis Presley, Lisa Marie Presley. But they got divorced in 1996. He had 2 children with his wife Debbie Rowe, who was a nursing assistant. Now they named their son Prince Jackson and daughter Paris Jackson. But Jackson has another son named Biggie Jackson, but his mother's identity has remained a mystery to the public. The mother of Biggie Jackson was a surrogate, but that is all that is publicly known. Number 8. Michael Jackson was gifted a 5,000-pound elephant. Can you imagine being gifted an elephant? Well, in 1991, Michael Jackson was gifted an Asian elephant by actress Elizabeth Taylor as a big thank you. And this was because of Jackson actually allowed her to host her wedding on his Neverland ranch. That would have dreamed to anyone. Jackson named the elephant Gypsy, and it weighed around 5,000 pounds. But Michael actually had 2 elephants, and the other one's name was Allie. Allie had actually walked through a gate that had accidentally been left open and wandered over to the giraffe area while Guest was roaming his ranch. No one was in danger though, and the elephant and the guest were safe and never in actual danger. Number 7. Michael Jackson was married to Elvis Presley's daughter, Lisa Marie Presley. There were shockwaves when the king of pop married the king of rock Elvis Presley's daughter Lisa Presley in 1994. The two had first met in 1975 when Lisa saw Jackson in concert, and she was only 7 years old at the time and he was 17. Then they found ways to keep in touch and actually started an adult relationship in 1992 and got married 2 years later. They kept their wedding as a secret as a couple didn't want any distraction and the paparazzi around them during this occasion, but then the couple filed for divorce 20 months after marriage in 1996. Number 6. Jackson has a medical center named after him. On the set for filming Pepsi commercial on January 27, 1984, Jackson's hair caught on fire. The accident was caused by pyrotechnics, and Jackson was left with second-degree burns on his scalp. After the incident, to cover scarring, Jackson underwent rhinoplasty surgery. Pepsi settled the issue out of court by paying Jackson $1.5 million. But Michael actually donated all of the money to the medical center in California that treated his burns as a thank you. The Brotman Medical Center in California called their burns department the Michael Jackson Burn Center. Number 5. Reason behind Michael Jackson's skin color. If you compare a photo of Jackson early in his career to one towards the end, you will notice a dramatic change in his appearance. Now, one of the most controversial and noticeable changes was his skin tone. Jackson's doctor said that he had vitiligo, which was a skin disease where the color of your skin changes. But there are many other thoughts and theories. A lot of people actually believed that his change in skin tone was on purpose and that he was ashamed of his natural skin tone. So after his death, an autopsy actually confirmed that Jackson did suffer from vitiligo, and he also suffered from many other mental health disorder, such as body dysmorphia. Number 4. MJ got crowned king. In 1992, Jackson visited the west coast of Africa on his tour, and he was welcomed by the locals. And it was actually loved so much that in one small village on the Ivory Coast, they decided to make him an actual king. Now, Jackson was crowned King Sani, the tribal chief. Full ceremony was held, including dancing and traditional drumming in their village. Jackson dressed in a tradition gown for his coronation, and papers were signed to make his kingship actually official. He remains the king of the Ivory Coast until his death. It is said that his ancestry is from this part of the world. Some said that he was their rightful heir to their tribe. The chief actually requested Jackson's body for an official buried for the king, but it was denied and he was buried in Southern California. But despite this, a 2-day ceremony was held in his memory and more than 1,000 local villagers were gathered. Number 3. Michael Jackson almost bought Marvel. In the late 1990s, Jackson tried to purchase the well-known comic book company Marvel. Marvel Company had actually filed for bankruptcy at the time, and Michael Jackson was in the market. The main reason for him actually wanting to purchase Marvel was that so he could feature himself as a superhero. Jackson actually saw himself as being a great Spider-Man for Marvel. This wasn't actually his only attempt to try to become a superhero. As soon as he heard that there was going to be a new X-Men movie, he put himself forward to play Professor X. But once again, he was not chosen for the role. Number 2. Truth behind Michael Jackson's death. The real reason they assassinated Jackson, it's because of the catalog he had of the Beatles, which was worth a fortune. That's why a smear campaign was initiated against him, calling him a pedophile and crazy. Do you know what it means to own 50% of Sony Records? Jackson did, a black man who had those rights, and it didn't sit well. Everything had a purpose, tarnishing his image, turning society against him, causing his death and allowing Sony to acquire all the musical rights of Jackson, which were worth a fortune. Sony Records invested millions in tarnishing Jackson's image through the media. Jackson is eternal. Jackson is greater than all of ancient Mesopotamia. The things and works he did for people are there. He invested millions in many projects, helped many people, including Little Richard and Rockwell. Jackson is the real hero who gave everything to heal our world. While his songs inspired us to be better in a messy world, some of us still thought he was changing his skin color and doing bad things to kids. Number 1. Michael Jackson's financial situation. Michael Jackson left a mark on entertainment from his unforgettable music to his iconic dance moves and catchy songs. But his financial legacy is just memorable, but not for the right reasons. Despite earning an astonishing $100 million every yearly during peak of his career, the King of Pop's finances spiraled out of control in the later year in his life. One of the biggest financial mistakes that Michael Jackson made was his excessive spending on a lavish lifestyle that include house, cars, and zoo animals. Famously poured millions of dollars into his Neverland Ranch, a decision that ultimately proved to be a financial burden. Throughout his career, he was wrapped in several lawsuits, including the highly publicized child assault case in 2005. And King of Pop reportedly spent over $20 million on legal fees to defend himself against the allegations. Despite his astronomical earnings, Michael Jackson's lavish lifestyle saw him consistently living beyond his means. By his heartbreaking passive in 2009, he was reposted to be $300 million in debt. Nevertheless, his brand remains strong ever today. His estate resolved the financial issues, and he has been the top-earning death celebrity for 5 consecutive years with a mouth-dropping net worth of over $500 million, making his estate the richest on the list. Michael Jackson's music may have stalled, but his legacy still lives on. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up and let us know your thoughts on Michael Jackson in the comments below. Can't wait to catch you in our next video.